So how do I find domain and range on the coordinate plane? I'm glad you asked. It's your girl Tiffany with Tiffany's Tutoring and Consulting LLC, and I'm going to guide you through these education streets. All right, so we're going to start out talking about domain and range. As a quick review, domain are the set of X values of ordered pairs or relations, and range are the Y values. So what we're going to do is I'm going to give you a visual method of knowing domain and range. Now for a linear function, which you're going to start to the left, you probably know that domain and range is all real numbers. Let me show you why though. So I'm going to start out with domain. I'm going to take this vertical line. I'm going to slide this vertical line slowly from left to right on this graph. And I'm even go right to left, go backwards. What I'm looking for is I'm looking for my points where my graph does not touch the red line. As you see everywhere on the graph, it's going to touch that vertical line. Now you may be asking, what about beyond what we see, beyond 8, beyond 8 on the X or the Y? I'm glad you asked. Those arrows will basically indicate that it's going to go towards negative infinity and positive infinity. So everywhere you go, it will be a value will hit that vertical line. So that means the domain is all real numbers. So let's go ahead and put that down at the bottom. Our domain is all real numbers. All real numbers. All right, very good. Now we're going to look at our range. So we're going to take our purple line, our horizontal line, and we're going to go from the bottom up. We're going to look in, as we see, everywhere where the graph is, that purple line hits. So again, the arrows extend in both directions. So our range is also all real numbers. So we're going to write that down. But again, a lot of you guys probably already knew that from what you may have learned in class or before. You know that domain and range for a linear function is all real numbers. All right, so let's look at a non-linear function, right? This is not a straight line. We're going to use our same technique. For domain, we're going to do our vertical line. We're going to start here. Now you might be like, wait a minute, Miss Tiffany, if I look at the top, I have a gap there. So does that mean that it stops there? I'm glad you asked. If you look, you see that arrow. So even though you can't see it, it will continue on. So eventually that graph will hit our vertical line. So as we move left to right, right to left, we can see it's going to hit that vertical line everywhere. So our domain for this nonlinear function is all real numbers. Okay, so again, and if you look at that, that is going to definitely be an absolute value function. So let's take our purple horizontal line for our range. Now, if we go down here, I don't see graph anywhere, right? Graph is not touching it at all. There are no arrows pointing that direction. But when I get to this line right here, which is the line of y equals -2, I can see that I'm starting to touch the graph. Okay, so everywhere from that y equals -2 and up is going to be our range. So you can write range a couple of different ways, but I'm just going to write it like this in inequality notation and say that our range is all values of y that are greater or equal to 2. -2, I'm sorry, -2. So all values of y greater or equal than -2. Okay. All right. So I want you to go to the circle and I'm going to give you a minute or two, or take a minute to pause the video, see if you can find domain and range. All right, now hopefully you're back and you have your domain and range. Now just a little bit about our circle. Our circle is not a function because I have multiple input values for a range value. So it's not a function, but that's okay. I can still find domain and range of non-functions. So I'm going to start my vertical line and I start here, and as I can see, I don't see anything. It's just pure space here, right? Then when I get here, I'm at -5 and I'm going to keep going and I'm at +5. So my domain is from -5 to +5. Okay, so I'm going to write that here. And again, you can write this a lot of different ways, but I'm just giving you one particular way to write it. Now, our range, what are we going to use? I'm glad you already know. You're going to use that horizontal line. So I'm going to move it up, move it up. Here we go. Boom. -2, +6. Again, -2, +6. So our range is going to be from -2 to +6. And make sure we use the correct letters for domain and range if they're giving us that they're X and Y. All right, hopefully this helps. If you have any other video suggestions, put them down below. All right, talk to y'all later. Peace.